If you listened to episode 79 and heard me keep talking about capacity, and a part of you was like, okay, Kusum, but what does that even mean? And how do I build more of it? Then this episode is exactly for you. But first, I want to actually connect the dots by sharing that we just got back from spring break in Colombia, South America. The trip was absolutely beautiful. Colombia is stunning. We made lots and lots and lots of memories. The kids had a blast. We had a blast. There were rooftop views, color, energy, movement, amazing food, coffee, history, chaos, charm, beaches, pool, and all the good stuff that makes a family trip feel rich and alive. So stay tuned for more travel pictures, videos, updates, and itineraries from the trip on Instagram. But for now, what I really want to share with you is that one of the biggest reminders from this trip for me was that the biggest flex is not taking a vacation. The biggest flex is not where you travel to, but the biggest flex is not needing a vacation from the vacation when you get back. How many of you can relate to that? I will repeat that one more time. The biggest flex is not taking a vacation, but the biggest flex is not needing a vacation from the vacation that you just got back. Because so many women are not going on trips to rest, despite what you might be telling yourself. You are going on trips and bringing your entire mental load with you. Different city, different hotel, different backdrop, but it's the same invisible labor. You are still tracking the kids, still thinking 3 steps ahead, still coordinating meals, still managing moods, still packing, planning, anticipating, remembering, and adjusting, still carrying the emotional weather of the family entirely on your shoulders, and still being the one who makes this whole thing work. And also, let's be real, just because there was a change of scenery doesn't mean it automatically creates rest for you. I want you to stay there for a moment and see if that's actually true for you. Because if your body is still braced, if your mind is still running on point on everything, if your nervous system still believes your job is to hold the whole world together, then you do not magically exhale because your location changed. You just do all of your usual carrying with a prettier background. And that's exactly what came to mind as I was heading back home from this vacation from Colombia. And while I felt amazing about not needing a vacation from a vacation, it also saddens me to think about how many women are not tired because life is bad. They are tired because they have become the infrastructure for everyone and everything around them. They have trained themselves to hold so much, manage so much, anticipate so much, and absorb so much that even the things meant to feel nourishing still require labor. So when I say the biggest flex is not needing a vacation from your vacation, what I really mean is this, that the real flex is building a life, a nervous system, and an internal way of being where rest does not require you to escape, where joy does not cost so much, where travel does not become motherhood and marriage and logistics just in a different zip code, where you're not so overextended in daily life that every trip becomes a recovery mission. Honestly, that ties beautifully into today's conversation because this is not only about vacations. This is about your capacity. It is about whether your life fits inside your body. It is about whether your success fits inside your nervous system. It is about whether the way you are living is forcing you to constantly recover from the very life you worked so hard to build. And that is exactly why all of this conversation about capacity matters, because the goal is not to keep earning little pockets of relief from an exhausting life. The goal is to become the kind of woman who can hold her life differently. And that is exactly what we are getting into today. Yes, capacity, but not in a way in how much you can cram into a day, not how much you can tolerate, not how good you are at functioning while completely drained. I am talking about real capacity. That is your ability to hold life without collapsing under the weight of it. So let's dive in. Welcome to the Inner Golden Hour podcast, where dreams take flight, mind, body, and soul get a serious holistic upgrade, and personal evolution transforms into a shared spiritual adventure. Consider this your dedicated sanctuary for exploration, self discovery, unfiltered truths, diverse perspectives, and some much needed heart to heart real talk. Hi, I'm your host Kusum. I'm a mindset and manifestation life and business coach. Think of me as that best friend you never knew you needed. The one unafraid to call out your BS, deliver a dose of tough love, and hit you with some truth bombs. This podcast is more than just a series of episodes. It's a transformative experience guiding you to dig into your truths, ditch those old beliefs, and fully embrace the real authentic you. It's an invitation to align your mind, body, heart, and soul, to dream big, to explore what truly lights you up, and to manifest a reality that surpasses your wildest imagination. Envision this space as the magical golden hour when everything radiates with a breathtaking glow, revealing the depths of your inner world. Now, come along and immerse yourself in a perpetual flow of inspiration, insights, and massive transformation across all areas of your life. Let's explore the extraordinary, one enlightening episode at a time. Welcome back to the Inner Golden Hour podcast with me, your host Kusum. I am so glad that you are here again today. And if you listen to episode 79, you probably noticed that I kept coming back to this word over and over and over and over again. That is capacity. And I know some of you were probably listening like, okay, Kusum, it's a cute word. I love the vibe, but what does that actually mean? And more importantly, how do I increase it when my life already feels full to the brim? My calendar looks like a hostage situation. I was talking to a client and I actually used that very analogy. Your calendar looks like a hostage situation, doesn't it, right now? Because let's be honest, when most women, especially high achieving working moms, hear the phrase, increase your capacity, what they think I mean is do more, carry more, tolerate more, squeeze more in, become more efficient, become more disciplined, optimize your morning routine, wake up at 5 a.m., drink the greens, journal, meditate, answer emails, lead the meeting, pack the lunch, remember the library book, regulate your nervous system, and somehow still smile through all of it. But no, a big, bold, capital No, no, because that is absolutely not what I mean, not even remotely close. So today, I want to go much deeper into this because this is one of the most misunderstood things when it comes to growth, leadership, fulfillment, and building a life that actually feels good to live. And yes, I go way deeper into this very concept in my upcoming masterclass. Please be sure to check out all of the details in the show notes. And this masterclass is perhaps your golden ticket to your next promotion while also staying present with your family and being there for the things that matter the most. So be sure to check out all of the details in the show notes. You don't want to miss it because this is honestly one of the foundational pieces of everything I teach. But I wanted to give you a real peek into it here first on this episode because if you can understand this one distinction, it's going to change everything for you. Not just how much you get done, but how you feel while doing it, how you lead, how you mother, how you hold pressure, how you receive more without collapsing under it, how you grow without resenting your own success, because that feels like the biggest missing piece of the puzzle for so many women. Because a lot of women say they want more money, more impact, more peace, more recognition, more support, more joy, more time, more space, more intimacy, more success. But what they don't remotely realize is this, that you cannot sustainably hold more in your life with the same internal infrastructure that was built to survive less. Let me say that again because this is the whole entire point. You cannot sustainably hold more in your life with the same internal infrastructure that was built to survive less. And that right there is why so many brilliant women like you get stuck It is not because you're lazy. It is not because you're not disciplined. It is not because you love to procrastinate. It is not because you perform better under pressure. That is the false story that you've been telling yourself all your life. And it is also not because you are not smart enough. And it's most definitely not because you need one more planner or one more productivity hack or one more color coded system. But it is because your current way of operating is already maxed out. You are trying to expand your life from a nervous system that is already in debt. You're trying to hold a bigger vision with a body that is already bracing. And you're trying to create overflow from a pattern of depletion. And you're trying to receive more while unconsciously you're gripping everything that you already have. And people think this is a time management problem. No, this isn't. It is not a time management problem, but this is a full on capacity problem. And please, oh, please, I need you to hear me on this because this is where so much of the self help world gets it so twisted. Capacity is not about how much you can cram into a day. Capacity is about how much life you can hold without abandoning yourself in the process. That is the real definition. Let me ask you this. Can you hold pressure without spiraling? Can you hold success without guilt? Can you hold visibility without shrinking? Can you hold rest without anxiety? Can you hold a hard conversation without unraveling for 3 full days? Or maybe in some cases, even more. Can you hold your child's emotions, your partner's needs, your team's expectations, your own ambitions, and still stay rooted in yourself? That right there is real capacity. It is not defined by your task list and how much you get done, but it is your ability to stay anchored while carrying real life. And high achieving women, especially, have learned a very sneaky version of capacity because we have been praised for being the reliable one, the strong one, the one who figures it all out, the one who gets it done, the one who keeps everything moving, the one who can handle a lot. And because of that, we mistake endurance for capacity. We think, look at me, I can survive so much, I can tolerate so much, I can keep going no matter what. But let me tell you this, surviving more is not the same as holding more. So let's actually talk about that right now. Because a lot of women have built what looks like capacity from the outside, but it is actually just chronic overfunctioning. They look calm on the outside, but internally they're buzzing. They look productive, but everything feels so damn heavy. They look successful, but they're secretly super resentful. They look extremely put together, but there is no spaciousness inside. And they get everything done, but it costs them their joy, their softness, their intimacy, their presence, and their peace of mind. And when I say peace of mind, it's not that you're maybe sad or depressed or any of that. When I say peace of mind, all I ask you is, can your mind shut up for 5 minutes without thinking about 10 different things? That's real peace. That's exactly why I say this is not expanded capacity, but it's simply expensive competence. All of the things that I just listed, what looks on the outside versus what's actually happening on the inside. And wow, if that doesn't describe so many women I know, especially moms, especially working moms, especially the kind of women who are good at everything and tired in ways nobody sees, the kind of woman who can run a meeting, solve a crisis, order groceries during a meeting, remember Spirit Week, answer a Slack meeting while reheating dinner, and then wonders why she feels like she is disappearing inside her own life. Again, it's not because she's weak or she's failing or she's not smart enough, but she is overtrained in performance and undersupported in actual capacity. And that is the biggest difference because real capacity does not just ask, how can I handle more? The real capacity asks, How can I become the kind of woman who no longer has to carry everything the hard way? And that single question alone changes the whole entire conversation, because then we stop glorifying the pileup. We stop romanticizing self sacrifice. We stop calling it ambition when it is actually anxiety in a blazer. And we start asking better questions. Where am I leaking my energy? Where am I overholding? Where am I making things harder than they need to be? Because my identity is so freaking attached to being the one who handles it all. Where am I operating from tension instead of trust? Where am I still believing that if I slow down, everything falls apart? Where am I equating rest with laziness? Where am I equating support with weakness? Where am I equating ease with not caring enough? Because for many women, the issue is not just workload, it is the subconscious meaning that we attach to this workload. Some women do not just have full lives, but they have full blown identities that are built around being needed, being so freaking needed all the time. Because some women do not just struggle to ask for help, they feel unsafe when they are not the one in control. And so many high achieving women do not just have high standards, they use perfection as emotional protection. So, exactly why so many women do not just stay busy. They stay busy because stillness would force them to feel what they have been outrunning all their life. Which is exactly why all of this conversation about capacity and this capacity work has to go deeper than your logistics, because you can outsource tasks all you want, but you're still going to be exhausted. You can clean up your calendar and still feel overrun. You can simplify your routine and still feel internally crowded. Why is that? Exactly for the reasons that I stated earlier. Because true capacity is not created by removing things from your life alone. It is created by changing the way you relate to what your life is asking of you. And that is exactly where the real work lies. So now let's take a closer look at what actually increases capacity without adding more to your to-do list. First and foremost, capacity grows when your nervous system stops treating everything like an emergency. This is a big one, so pay close attention. Because a lot of high achieving women are not tired just because they have a lot to do. They are tired because their body is processing every single thing like it matters at the same level of intensity. The 100 email feels urgent. The messy kitchen feels urgent. The school form feels urgent. The text you forgot to respond to feels urgent. The Slack thing feels urgent. The hard conversation you need to have feels urgent. The idea you have not executed yet feels urgent. Thing you might be forgetting feels urgent. So even when nothing is technically on fire, your internal system is acting like it is. And if your body is living in this low grade alarm all day, you can have a relatively normal schedule and still feel chronically overwhelmed all day, every single day, regardless of what your actual schedule looks and feels like. And that's exactly why some women take a weekend or even an entire week away and still come back feeling so freaking tired and drained, because exhaustion is not always from effort. More often than not, it is from internal bracing, because you are clenched all day, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, and spiritually. That's exactly why real capacity starts expanding when your body learns that more responsibility does not have to mean more panic, that more visibility does not have to mean more self abandonment, that more success does not have to mean more pressure, that more life does not have to mean less you. That's exactly why this work is deep. Exactly why I also say that this is not a planner problem or a time problem. Secondly, capacity expands when you stop carrying things that were never yours to hold in the first place. Whew. Let's sit there for a second, shall we? Because so many women are not just carrying their own responsibilities, they are carrying emotional labor, anticipatory labor, invisible labor, relational labor, and mental labor for everyone around them. Because they are managing moods, managing expectations, managing outcomes, managing other adults' incompetence, managing the family rhythm, managing every loose end in their head, managing the possibility of disappointment even before it happens. And then they wonder why they feel maxed out before noon. Of course you do. You are doing project management for a life itself. All day, every single day, 2, 4, 7, 365 days a year. And not only that, you're doing all of it preemptively. You're solving problems that have not happened yet. You're preventing discomfort before it even appears. You're buffering everyone else from the consequences of their own forgetting, delay, avoidance, or lack of initiative. And that is not a capacity problem, that is an over ownership problem. And this has become a default pattern for a lot of women because most of us were praised for this so early in our lives that this feels so normal. But please hear me very carefully. Every time you overcarry what does not belong to you, you reduce the energy available for what actually does. So, part of increasing capacity is not about becoming a superwoman, it is about becoming more discerning. What is mine to hold? What is mine to influence but not control? What is not mine at all? What am I carrying because it is needed? And what am I carrying because I do not trust anyone else to do it differently than I would? All of these distinctions absolutely matter. And third, capacity grows when your standards become cleaner. Now, this one, per usual, is going to call you out on some of your BS, but please hear me out when I say this. Because a lot of women think their exhaustion is coming from having too much on their plate. While at times that might be true, but more often than not, the exhaustion is mostly coming from the fact that your standards are unconscious, inconsistent, and are impossible. Yep. Hate me all you want, but you've got to hear this part. Because you say you want help, but no one can meet the invisible gold medal standard that you have set in your head. You say you want rest, but you only let yourself rest once everything is done, which is, let's be real, never. And you say you want partnership, but you correct the process so much that the other person stops trying once and for all. And you also say that you want peace, but your inner world is run by this unspoken rule that I should be able to handle this and then some. And if I drop one ball, then that means something about me. That means I am failing. That means I am not good enough. That means this, that, the other about me. And exactly why you feel so drained all the time. But on the contrary, if you had cleaner standards, that's what's going to create more capacity because cleaner standards reduce friction, not perfection, clarity. For example, what matters most? What is actually good enough? What gets delegated even if it is not done your way? What gets delayed without drama? What gets dropped because it was never worth your life force to begin with? Because here's the thing about capacity, it loves clean standards and it dies in invisible expectations. And fourth, capacity expands when your identity stops being fused with over efforting. Again, this one is real, real deep because some women do not just do a lot, they are someone through doing a lot. Their goodness is tied to usefulness, their worth is tied to output, their safety is tied to preparedness, their confidence is tied to being ahead, their lovability is tied to being easy, competent, available, and low maintenance. Oh my goodness gracious. So, even when life offers them an easier way, they cannot receive it because if things got lighter, who would they even be? And this is why so many women unconsciously recreate pressure even after they've earned the right to breathe because the chaos is familiar, the pushing is familiar, the being needed is familiar, the constantly reaching is familiar. But stillness, on the other hand, feels unfamiliar. Support feels unfamiliar. Enoughness feels unfamiliar. So the body goes back to what it knows best. And that's exactly why capacity work at its root is a real identity work. Because you're not just learning how to hold more, but you are becoming a woman who no longer needs stress as proof that she matters. Now, hear that again one more time with your whole being. You are becoming a woman who no longer needs stress as proof that she matters. And that right there, when you arrive at that point, will absolutely do it. And lastly, capacity expands when you stop treating every season like it should look the same. And this is one of the biggest mistakes high achieving women make. They set one standard for themselves and expect themselves to perform at that level, no matter what season of life they are in. Whether it's work launch, sick kid, school break, travel, hormonal shifts, family needs, emotional strain, big leadership stretch, relationship tension, healing season, creative season. No matter what season of life they are in, they still expect themselves to operate like some polished, optimized machine. No wonder you feel like you're failing. But the truth is, you're not failing. You're simply refusing to account for reality. And the thing about capacity is that it is not static, it is seasonal. Some seasons are for building, some seasons are for holding, some seasons are for healing, some are for simplifying, some are for receiving, some are for stretching, some are for stabilizing. And real maturity is knowing which season you are actually in instead of shaming yourself for not performing like it is a completely different one. And that alone, if you really get it, should create so much relief for you right now because then you stop making your human limitations mean something toxic about your own identity. So you're going to stop saying things like, why can't I do what I used to do? And instead, you will start asking, what does this season actually require from me? And that right there is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. That is real leadership. And that, in its true essence, is capacity. And pay even more close attention as I say this that increasing your capacity does not mean your life suddenly becomes empty and easy and nobody ever needs anything and your inbox ascends to heaven. No, that is not the goal. The goal is that your internal experience of your own life changes. You stop feeling like you're constantly being chased by your own existence. You stop feeling like joy has to wait until everything is under control. You stop feeling like your ambition and your peace are in competition with each other. You stop feeling like success always comes with a side of resentment. And you stop feeling like you are one drop ball away from completely collapsing. That is all. That's how your own experience of your life changes internally. And that's exactly what makes it all worth it. And all of this matters even more for working moms because so many of you are living inside this brutal lie. The lie that if I can just get more organized, more disciplined, more efficient, and more on top of things, then I will finally feel spacious. But let me ask you this. What if spaciousness is not on the other side of better performance? What if it is on the other side of a better relationship with yourself? What if it comes from a nervous system that feels safer, cleaner standards, more support, less over ownership, a different identity, and a more honest relationship with the season you're in? And that's exactly why two women can have the same schedule and experience it completely differently. While one of them is drowning, the other is grounded and thriving. Same tasks, but completely different internal infrastructure. And this is also exactly why some women can step into bigger leadership, bigger motherhood, bigger impact, bigger wealth, bigger visibility, and actually become more peaceful. Not because their life got smaller, but because their capacity got larger. Their internal container changed. And that, my dear mamas, is the real work. Not just getting the thing, but becoming the woman who can hold the thing really, really well. The promotion, the business, the visibility, the money, the marriage, the motherhood, the leadership, the peace, all of it. Because if your current self can only hold success through tension, then more success will just create more tension. But if your capacity expands, then more success can actually feel like more freedom. And that's exactly what I want for each and every single one of you. Not a prettier version of burnout, not more sophisticated self abandonment, not balanced on paper but miserable inside your own body. My wish for you is for your own life to actually fit inside your nervous system. I want your leadership to feel powerful, not punishing. I want your ambition to feel clean, not cluttered and guilty. I want your home to benefit from your growth, not pay the price for it. And for the love of God, I want you to stop thinking the answer is always doing more, because more often than not, the answer is holding differently, relating differently, choosing differently, letting go differently, and receiving differently. So, if you're listening to this and realizing, wow, I have been trying to increase my capacity by just becoming more efficient, more useful, more available, more everything, I want you to hear me on this, that you are not behind, but you are perhaps ready for a deeper, real conversation. And that's exactly why I am so freaking stoked about my upcoming masterclass, because this is one of the core things we are diving into inside the masterclass. We are not just talking about how to get more done, we are talking about how to become the kind of woman who can hold more of what she wants without paying for it with her peace, with her body, with her joy, or her presence. Well, isn't that the whole point anyway? So, if this episode resonated with you in any way, if it named something you have felt but never had language for, if you are tired of trying to out hack your own humanity, then come join me inside the masterclass, because this, whatever you just heard here, was just a sneak peek. But we go so much deeper inside the masterclass, where we talk about what capacity actually is and how you've been silently shrinking yours. But once you increase your capacity, how it can lead you to your next promotion while also being present with your family. And we are also going to get real clear on why your current strategies are not creating the relief you thought they would. We're also going to dive into what it takes to build a life, leadership, and internal world that can actually hold the level you keep saying you want. And honestly, if you are someone who's been craving a real shift that is deeper than superficial surface strategies, you need to be in that room, because you do not need another lecture on being more disciplined and more organized and the whole nine yards. But what you need is a new way of understanding yourself. And that masterclass is going to change everything for you. So before we close, I want to leave you with a few questions. Ask yourself, where am I confusing endurance with actual capacity? What am I carrying right now that is not truly mine to hold? What would increase spaciousness in my life more than another productivity hack ever could? And more importantly, ask yourself, where in your life have you been trying to increase capacity by adding more effort when what is really needed is a different relationship with what you're actually carrying? Sit with these questions, journal on them, take them with you on a walk, and let these questions follow you into the week, because your next level is not just about what you can do, but it is going to be so much more about what you can hold. And here's some great news for you, that capacity can be expanded, but you can't do that through pressure or through shame or through more impossible standards. But you can definitely do that through more awareness, support, regulation, truth, and a whole new way of being. And that's exactly where your freedom begins. All right, so if this episode spoke to you, please send it to another working mom who is doing a lot, holding a lot, and secretly wondering why life is always so darn busy and feels so heavy. And if you haven't already registered, please make sure you check out the masterclass in the show notes and sign up right away, because we are going to go all in on this. All right, I'll see you inside the masterclass. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of this podcast. I appreciate your time, your presence, your commitment, and your willingness to embark on this journey of self-discovery, transformation, and manifestation. If anything you heard today resonated with you, sparked new insights, or brought about aha moments, I'd love to hear all about them. So please share your thoughts by tagging me on social media at Passion Purpose Passport and follow me there for more inspiring content and connection. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and show your support by liking, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. The more good we share with the world, the more the universe unfolds its magic for us. It's not just good karma, it's the universal law, aka Manifestation 101. On that note, align your mind, body, heart, and soul with your deepest desires for limitless possibilities. Remember, every step you take, every action you choose ripples through the universe, shaping the reality you wish to experience. Until next time, keep basking in the brilliance of your inner golden hour and keep manifesting miracles.